Welcome back to our halftime show here on K105. It's another edition of our Cougar Conversations. Look through the years. We're joined now by Mr. Todd Johnston, or I should say, Coach Todd Johnston here, now at St. Paul Elementary. And I guess I can still say coach. Once a coach, always a coach, and that feels the most natural to me here. You were a student at Grayson County. You were an athlete. You played as well. What were some of your best memories as a student and a student athlete at GCHS?
Well, from the athletic standpoint, played baseball for 6 years. A lot of district championships in baseball. We won over 100 games. That was always fun. In my time there, we won over 100 games. And then in basketball, junior and senior year, we won the district. But always remember back then the community support. We didn't have K105 to broadcast games and people stay home and watch. But gyms full, a lot of support from the community, students actively involved, and that was football, basketball, baseball, all of that. So nothing but great memories of my time as a student there. And, class of 1987, I always think of that as one of the best times that you could have at Grayson County.
It's the best class, right?
Absolutely. Athletic-wise or anything else, it was the best class.
I love everyone. Everyone says their class. Like my high school, it's 2015 always is the one to do it. You were at Edmondson when you became a teacher, and then you went to McLean, and you were the coach there for two seasons, if my memory's right. And then you got the opportunity to come back home. Why was that the right move?
I've always wanted to come home. From the time I was at Edmondson to McLean, those two stops helped shape me and help me know even more that home is where I wanted to be. And, got lucky at McLean County. I had a great principal, Rick Johnson, who gave me a chance as a head coach at a really young age. We upset Grayson County in the district tournament at the end of my second year there at McLean County. The Grayson County job opened up, and I think that helped propel me to get the job. But pulled a big upset and made it to the regional tournament for the first time in a long time for McLean County. But home is where I was always, the end goal was always Grayson County. Once I got to Grayson County, I never wanted to leave, never applied for another job, never actively sought another job. I wanted to stay there the whole time.
And then your first year, you couldn't have started it off much better. You win the region. I know I asked you this when Chris came and brought his team down 3 or 4 years ago. When did you know in that season that this team had a chance to be special in 2001?
Honestly, that summer, before the season ever started, we played some really good teams and played them all close. North Hardin, who ended up being the team that beat us in the state tournament, we played them that summer. They beat us, but competitive. And then, I think the kids just really wanted to put forth every bit of effort they could. Everybody told me when I got there they were undisciplined, but I didn't find that to be the case. They would do everything I asked. At Christmas, we were 8-5, and I was like, oh. But again, great tournaments we played in, tough competition, but we went on a big run in January to the end of the year and knew we had a chance. We beat Muhlenberg North at their place on a last-second shot. Nick Crawford hit a little baseline jumper, and they were the prohibitive favorite with Owensboro, but we beat Owensboro that year by 12. Luckily, Owensboro got upset that year, so we didn't have to beat or play them. But, in middle of January, I knew that we were going to be right in the thick of it.
2009 then, 8 years later with, I know, some point guard that, he wasn't as good as Chris Gaither, right?
No, he never has been.
That team, though, as he would tell you, and I'm sure he's yelling at the screen right now saying, is the only one to win at Rupp Arena. What was that like?
Well, for the community and to see all the orange, it was unbelievable, and that's still my fondest memory of, Adair County was favored. Everybody thought they would beat us. Our kids didn't for 1 second doubt that they were going to win. And I tell everybody that we talk about this. 01, the 2001 team was more talented. They huge size, good shooters, great defensively, and then you had Chris as the X factor. 09 was the smartest team I've ever coached. We could put in a game plan and it would be executed to perfection. I had Bennett, Skaggs, Wes Smith, Travis. Those guys, those three guards, were as smart as any player at any time Grayson County's ever had when it comes to putting them together and executing game plans. So, I always tell people if '09 had a week to prepare, they'd beat '01. But like in a state tournament situation, the game plan we put in for Adair County, we held them to 33 points. Only had a day to prepare for West Jessamine and Jared Polson, who played at Kentucky. If we had a couple more days, I think we could have done a lot more things with that. But, you don't have that. Nobody does. But still played them really close. But '09, give them a couple of days to prepare, and they could compete with anybody.
Not long after 2009, you made the decision to step away from coaching and go to become a principal. What went into that?
Honestly, I can remember my last year in 2012. I had a great team. I had a foreign exchange student, Ollie Roberts, that was a first-team All-Region player, Ethan Saltzman, really good team. We won 25, 26 games that year. But I can remember going home and telling Tracy after one of our Christmas tournaments how tired I was. For 12 years, every day, breathe, eat, sleep, basketball, the preparation, the game planning, all that really started getting to me. And then things at the board just kind of shook out. I was assistant principal for 2 years before that, and I just really felt like it was time for a change, that I wasn't doing everything that I should be doing as a head coach at that point. So made the decision, very difficult decision, a lot of sleepless nights on it, but to become the principal or at least apply for it, and then got the job. But, I always assumed I would coach for 27, 30 years. I'd coach till I retired. Still a coach at heart over anything else, still my favorite job I've ever had. But being principal for 6 years at Grayson County High School was very memorable. Some bad times, a lot of good times, but you get to see the kids in a different way. And I got to know more kids than just the athletes or just the basketball players. And you work closely with teachers, obviously, as a principal, and a lot of lifelong friendships and relationships there.
We talked about '01, we talked about 2009, but does anything else stand out as far as good memories, whether it's as a student athlete, as a coach, or as a principal?
Well, the two big ones, obviously, are the regional championships, but countless district championships that we won. We won 7 in a row. Still remember Hunter Gary scoring 37, 38, 39 points in a district championship game against Edmondson, at Edmondson, and the thrill of that, even winning that many in a row. But I always go back to basketball. That's just where my blood is. That was my first love. So I always think back to sports. But 1987 graduating, huge year for me. '01 a huge year. '09 a huge year. But winning the game at the state tournament would be the thing that I would always go back to first.
You mentioned coach is your favorite job, but does that compare with being grandpa and pops? Right? Does it compare to that?
No, it doesn't, and it's just as tiring. 4 grandkids right now, Jack, Lily, Landry, and Hattie, and spend as much time with them as I can. And, the decision to get out of coaching when I took the girls' job came down to me and Jack, my grandson, talking to him. I was like, I can coach your junior pro team, I can be around more, or I can stay with the girls and keep coaching. And he was torn on it for a while, but came down to, I want you to coach my junior pro team. And the morning that I decided to resign, the day of the banquet, that's what he stuck with. And he kept saying, I want you to coach me. I want you to coach me. So ultimately, it was the right decision.
I appreciate the time here today. This has been our Cougar Conversations segment. We'll be having more looks throughout the years as the season goes along, but now we'll get back to the halftime show here on K105.